Anna? One's got a spare. You can take a seat, please. There's one in the middle down there next to Stelios, fifth row back. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Kalispera σας. Welcome, everyone, to this, the 20th ICS Greek Branch Annual Forum. And indeed, you are very welcome. Boro? So, this is an evening where we are all going to have to be flexible. I would ask for your patience and I will steer you through it as much as I can. But without further ado, Mrs. Natalia Margioli-Komninou, the Vice President of the ICS, Managing Director of the Hellenic Management Centre and the Greek ICS branch, please, your welcoming remarks.
Dear Chairman of the ICS Greek Branch, dear International Vice Chairman of ICS, dear members from our 27 branches connected tonight via live streaming, distinguished speakers, dear friends, good evening. Welcome and thank you for being with us. Tonight, we celebrate 20 years of the ICS Annual Forum, 20 years of exchanging ideas, 20 years of learning from each other, 20 years of shaping the future together. Over these 2 decades, we have supported people to gain knowledge, develop strong values, and grow professionally. We have encouraged the spirit of excellence and responsibility, and we have become a trusted name in maritime education and professional development. A special word of appreciation goes to our tutors, dedicated professionals who, despite their demanding careers, share knowledge and experience with the next generation. Their passion and generosity keep our mission alive, and we are truly thankful for them and for their invaluable contribution. But beyond education, we have built something even more important, a community of people where all care about shipping, who share their experience and who support each other, because we believe that knowledge becomes more valuable when it is shared. Over the years, I've seen students to take the first steps, and later, I've seen them become really respected professionals. Many of them choose to come back, either as tutors or as mentors and supporters for the next generation. Others continue to contribute by offering other opportunities, opening doors through their companies and inspiring new talent. We have come a long way, and we continue to move forward. Our mission remains the same, to grow together with the shipping industry. Through our new company membership scheme, we give companies the opportunity to connect, learn, and progress together. This initiative brings organization closer to the heart of ICS, offering them access to knowledge, professional training, and a truly global network of maritime experts. Meanwhile, our newly established partnership with the Charter Management Institute marks another important step forward. By offering management and leadership programs, we empower professionals to develop essential soft skills that drive success in today's global markets. At the same time, we remain deeply committed to our core ICS professional programs, the foundation of our work and our identity. These programs continue to evolve, adapting to every new challenge, opportunity in the shipping world. At this point, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to our chairman, Nicholas Tsavliris. We have been many years together. We have an excellent cooperation based on mutual respect and trust. Chairman, thank you so much. I would also like to extend a heartfelt thank you to our distinguished speakers. Your participation tonight adds great value to this event. Last but not least, to thank our chairman, our moderator, Simon. Simon, for one more time, you will make the best conference tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here.
Mr. Chairman, Nikos Tsavliris, please, a few words from you too.
Distinguished guests, dear members of the ICS, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, it is with sincere emotion and deep respect that I welcome you to the 20th ICS Greek Branch Annual Forum. an event that celebrates 2 decades of dialogue, professional excellence, and the exchange of ideas that continue to shape the future of global shipping. This evening, however, is more than a milestone. It is a moment of gratitude, reflection, and genuine pride. In 2005, when we held our very first forum here in Athens, the world and our industry were very different. In these 20 years, we have witnessed change on an extraordinary scale, technological revolutions, economic shifts, and transformations that have redefined maritime trade and global connectivity. Yet the past 2 decades have also reminded us that progress is neither linear nor guaranteed. We navigate a world that is more fragmented, where division, conflict, and indifference overshadow the values that once united us. In such times, the true purpose of this forum becomes ever clearer: to remain a space for thoughtful, honest dialogue and collective understanding. The strength of this gathering has never rested on speeches alone. It has flourished through the spirit of sharing, mutual respect, and intellectual curiosity that each of you bring. Dialogue, in its original Greek sense, dialogos, is not a contest of arguments, but a shared journey towards truth. That timeless principle has guided this forum from its inception through every period of change and uncertainty. We owe a special debt of gratitude to our panel of speakers whose participation and insight give meaning to our discussions. You remind us that knowledge acquires its true worth only when it is shared. To Natalia Marioni for the entire ICS Greek branch team, we thank you for your unwavering dedication and vision. Natalia, your leadership has been instrumental in shaping this forum into a distinguished institution it is today. To Mr. Leonidas Dimitriadis and the Evgenidis Foundation, we extend our heartfelt appreciation for your continued hospitality and support. You have offered us not merely a venue, but a home, a place where ideas can take root and grow. And I hope we can consider it home and we can keep coming back every year. And of course, to our sponsors, your steadfast commitment has enabled this forum to evolve, to endure, and to continue inspiring the maritime community for 2 remarkable decades. Finally, to each and every one of you, members, students, colleagues, and friends, thank you too. Whether you have been with us from the beginning or you are joining us the first time this evening, your presence gives the forum its energy and purpose. Welcome to the 20th ICS Annual Forum. Let this evening be a reminder that every voice matters and every interaction may have the power to shape the future. Thank you for your attendance and for your attention. And apologize for my croaky voice.
So, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I still see, just before we keep going, there's still a spare seat. If you can be able to be split from Nadia, there's a seat just there behind you, if you want to get in there. So that one there. And there's, for one of you perching on the edge of, on the row there, There's still one going. If you see Katerina and go right, there's one in the middle there too, okay? I wouldn't want you to harm yourselves. We have two apologies that I have to apologize on behalf of. One is the Minister of Maritime Affairs and Insular Policy of the Hellenic Republic, Vasilis Kikelias, is unable to join us. Some urgent matter of government came up. Also, Mr. Thanasis Martinos, who deeply missed, he's unable to attend because of an urgent business matter as well. I will leave you to make the necessary conspiracy theory at that particular point. However, Thanasis at least assured us that he was, thank you, Billy, assured us that he was very sorry to miss us. It was something that he really wanted to attend. So he has actually sent us a video clip sending his apologies and giving us a few things to think about. So if we could see the clip, that would be great. Thank you very much.
Dear Chairman, Mr. Nick Tsavliris, Mrs. Marioli Komninou, Mr. Simon Ward, dear co-panelists, dear guests, I am sorry that due to an unforeseen business issue, I am not attending this, the 20th Annual Forum of the Institute of ICS this year. I trust that the panel discussion will be very interesting in challenging times for Greek and world shipping. As a small contribution, and as we reach this year's end, I will venture a few predictions for the various vessel sectors for next year's freight market. Most categories will be adequately supplied with new ship deliveries in 2026, exceeding or equaling the increase in demand for commodities, except three types of ships which will do better: the VLCC tanker market, the bulk cape sizes, and the feeder container ships. I anticipate, and so is the consensus, that freight rates for above three categories will be higher in 2026 compared to 2025. Especially, VLCC tankers may experience a mini boom next winter. Sanctioned Russian crude oil exports, now carried on medium-sized tankers, will be substituted by USA and Arabian Gulf oil exports to be carried by VLCCs. Cape sizes will benefit from low ship deliveries next year and increased iron ore shipments from West Africa. Container feeders benefit from a low order book and an aging fleet. However, the use of the Red Sea route by containers, if the Houthis keep quiet next year, may decrease the medium and large container ships TC rates. Aframax freight rates may be lower due to Russian oil sanctions and the LR2 excessive order book. Presently, LR2 clean tankers move to the dirty trades. Similarly, MR2 product tankers will experience lower rates in 2026 due to increased deliveries and reduced demand for Russian product exports. In fact, in 2025, product tanker rates were lower compared to 2024, and 2024 were lower compared to 2023, and so on. For the dry bulk market, for Kamsarmaxes, Supramaxes, and Handys, rate levels will average in 2026 at the same moderate freight levels of 2025. If the US dollar drops further versus a basket of currencies next year, that will benefit the dry bulk market, increasing the demand for bulk commodities, as it happened in the second half of 25, which was freight rates were much better than the first half of 2025. My predictions are based on a consensus of prominent shipbrokers' report and statistics produced by their research departments. In the future, with the design of relevant AI econometric models, we will have more accurate freight market forecasts. Thank you for your attention and enjoy the session. All the best.
Well, we got what we came for, yeah? Personally, I think that's very good, very to the point, and very gracious of Mr. Martinos to send such a detailed prediction and to share that with the Institute. So it's a shame he's not here, but it proves that he's a gentleman to me. Right, now, panelists, follow that. I'm sure you're very able to. Yes, we do have Thanasis Martinos-sized hole in the middle, but we're more than made up with the brilliance of our panel this evening. I would like, if I may, to explain and remind the audience the idea behind this type of forum. This is not a question and answer session just between me and the panelists. This is not even a seminar. This is, I like to say, a symposium. This is an exchange, as our chairman said, of knowledge, of experience, of ideas, of intellect. So there's going to be no presentations. Furthermore, and the panelists, you may see the look on their faces at the moment, the panelists have no idea what questions are going to wing their way, either from me or from you. But we are relying on their proven expertise, eloquence, and knowledge to address some of the issues affecting the shipping market today. I will moderate the discussions as we go on, but moderate does not mean discipline. I am here to generate and develop the discussions, and I hope to have as little work as possible to do, because that's where you come in. I will not be here. I will be wandering amongst you with this. Be afraid, Dimitri, very afraid. Okay. There are no planted questions in the audience either. Everyone is free to ask a question and make any comment at any time. Just raise your hand, catch my eye, and I will get round to you as soon as I can. There are microphones near to you, either next to you in the seats or in front of you. However, please keep your contributions to specific questions and comments on the topics at hand. We don't need your life story or a list of your positions and achievements. You can do that over drinks afterwards. That said, we do want to know what you think. Remember, and my students, past and present, know this very well, the only stupid question is the one that you do not ask. Anyone, student, member, professional, ship owner, and yes, even shipbrokers, are qualified to contribute, and I encourage you to do so. And I hope that we can engage with each other and make this evening's discussions interesting, insightful, and memorable. Okay? Right. We have a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on in the world at the moment, and most of it affects shipping one way or the other. Let me start off with something fairly easy. President Trump's statement that the US would not stand for a global green new scam tax on shipping was in his usual language, But I got the feeling, and I've got the feeling over the last few of the weeks, that there's many in the shipping industry that actually supported this stance and were quite relieved when the Net Zero Fund proposal was put on hold for a year. George, do you sympathise with that point of view? Do you recognise this?
Firstly, thank you very much for inviting me back here. It's a delight, Simon, to be moderated by you. So what I would say to that is, I think whenever Trump says anything, there is an immediate kind of visceral reaction to it, a reflexive anti-Trump reaction. And equally, on the other side, there is a sort of a reflexive anti-tax idea, in the sense that, you know, here's an opportunity for politicians to put their hands on other people's money with the saying, you know, trust us, we know how to spend your money better than you do. So I think what we need to do here very quickly is to just go back to the basics of this. What are we trying to do here? There's a global effort to try and reduce carbon emissions. And in this, we have to do an allocation of resources. And I think that shipping has taken, let's say, a wrong position, or has been attributed a wrong position in this. And what do I mean by that? If we compare it, for example, to aviation, and aviation, I believe, is you know, as a sort of other major transportation industry, is something that we can look to almost with some envy. There's a duopoly of manufacturers. There is an extremely powerful political lobby, and they produce broadly similar emissions to what we do. So if we produce 3% of the world's emissions, approximately, they do 2.5%, but we transport 90% of the world's goods, and they transport significantly less. So if we are, for example, to be using certain fuels, such as biofuels, and I single out biofuels because the quantity required to reduce emissions on a single tanker voyage of an MR versus the impact of using those same biofuels on a 747, the impact is far greater. So what I'm trying to say is that we shouldn't abdicate of our responsibilities as an industry. We absolutely should take that as a mantle, but there needs to be a proper, thoughtful allocation of how we're going to reach this net zero, and it should be done in an order of priority that is going to be helpful to the planet in the fastest possible way.
Okay, Milena.
Yeah, I would like to add a little bit to what George just said. It's not just that Trump's tweet was the reason for which many countries either abstained or proposed that we postpone the IMO for 1 year. There were actual gaps in the regulations, like, for example, the rewards for green fuels, like, for example, the life cycle assessment of the fuels, and, of course, who will govern this fund and how the funds will be directly fueled back into shipping. So these question marks, which, you know, there was, the IMO was passed in April, and it was supposed to be ratified in the MEPC about a month ago. But those question marks were not answered. So it was very difficult to proceed with when you have such big questions going on. To add a little bit to the emissions question, yes, indeed, we are at 3% of world emissions, maybe lower, 2.7, and we do carry 85% of global trade by volume. That being said, if we don't decrease and we don't strive to decarbonize, this will increase, of course. That being said, the new engines that we use, which are conventional still, are much more efficient, so we have been decarbonizing, even with the current conventional engines that we have. So we are making moves. But like George said, it's important to know that it's a maritime industry, so you have to update the infrastructure, the port infrastructure, scalability of the fuels, make them less expensive. There are a lot of question marks. Before putting the carriage in front of the horse, you need to address all of these, which are very expensive and, of course, well to wake. if we go directly to alternative fuels, first of all, there are competing industries like aviation. We need to be prepared for that.
One of the things that I've noticed, and I was in China at Shanghai Maritime University thing, the Monday after the MEPC meeting. I think a couple of you were there at the time as well in Shanghai. And I was in a roundtable discussion with various people, and it struck me that a lot of the people that really wanted it and driving it were the liner industry. The liner industry were taking the great takes and the great positions on it, and the tramp market was not really okay. Intertanker and Intercargo have done great work at the IMO and especially on the MEPC committees, but because of the fragmented nature of the tramp market, most of the headlines that are gained from it come from people like Maersk and CMA CGM. I mean, the chairman he turned up in the Oval Office at one point, which I doubt any of us would like to do any particular time. So do you think that tramp shipping, that obviously where green corridors don't make sense simply because of the nature of tramp shipping, is at a disadvantage, and the liner companies have, how can I put it, hijacked the discussions to their benefit? George?
I just wanted to echo a point that you said, and to reflect something that I'd mentioned before. It's not so much that they've hijacked, it's that it's, in the force of lobbying, they have a very powerful voice. And we see this also in the European Union. They also dominate the discussion in the way European Union legislation on emissions is being carried out. And so it's certainly a challenge because, they're looking out for their own interests. Tramp shipping is far more diverse, many more owners, much more fragmented, far harder for us to have our voices heard. And so I think I don't have a solution to that, but it's certainly a problem that at least if we highlight it exactly as you're doing, then at least the awareness may lead us to be able to organize ourselves differently, change the force of our voice.
Okay, talking of costs, which Milena brought up, I noticed this week a tale of 2 Suezmax orders. I'm sorry, I'm in the tanker area here, so I better be a bit careful. Okay. Samsung, the big Samsung, took orders for 2 conventionally fueled Suezmaxes from New Shipping, 86 million, delivery 28. AET took 2 orders of LNG dual-fueled Suezmaxes at the subcontracted Sungdong for 100 million. Now, personally speaking, and it's not just because I'm here in Greece, I think Adam Polemis is probably a sharper player in the market than AET are. But can anybody ever get back that 14 million? I mean, that's a huge amount of money, and this is the kind of cost that people are asking ship owners to do. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? Difficult one.
I can go for if you want.
Okay, please do, Milena. Please
Seems
do.
I have an opinion about everything. Sorry. Well, with the IMO being postponed, and probably indefinitely, or for at least Trump's term, if we're being pessimistic, more optimistic people might think that if you fill in the gaps in the regulation, it might be passed in time for 2028 to come into play, as initially we had planned. So I think personally, I don't think that they will need the dual fuel if. So you don't need to pay for that, and maybe even orders might be changed. That's what I was thinking lately, that a lot of these orders, which the liners have a reason to do it because they have to do with the end consumer. For tramp shipping, as correctly stated, you don't have refueling areas because we go all around the world, so it's very difficult to find the same kind of fuels everywhere. So you have to keep that in mind, even if you're a Cape. So I think, I'm not sure that you can capture that dual fuel cost, which is quite a bit. It varies from 13 to 17 million, actually, depending on the size of the vessel. But I think that for now, probably with what's going on with the IMO and Mr. Trump, it will be postponed. So maybe we don't have to deal with it unless you've already put the order, which again, maybe there will be some reshuffling in the orders and change conversions of vessels. But that's just what my thought have been. I don't know. I mean, we have to wait and see.
Okay, well, it brings up another question.
Simon.
Yes, please. Sorry. It's
if
me.
I may
I'm
add,
sorry.
First of all, thank you for having me here tonight. Thank
It's a pleasure.
you, Mr. Chevaliers and Mrs. Marioli. But I wanted to add on Milena's point about the shift in orders. I was actually in a meeting yesterday with one of the big classification societies, and who are monitoring orders in the Far East from certain of their clients, and they've actually verified and confirmed to me that a lot of their orders the orders for the clients have been changing the engines, and it's primarily from liner companies. So you see that this new the fact that the regulation did not go through and it's postponed and probably will not come into effect anyway, I guess it's a stepping stone for us to realize and not, bring it a bit more smoothly. But let's not forget that there's a tendency, we need to focus on this topic anyway. We need to focus on lowering emissions. I think all of us have gotten into that modus operandi anyway. So I think a lot of groundwork has been done. Maybe there's a postponement. Maybe people are thinking of the returns a little bit because they couldn't prepare themselves with these time frames. So it's not really a bad thing. But as an industry and as a global community, I think the message has been passed. And I think steps will be adequately taken with appropriate, timelines that could be realistic and met.
George.
If you want to give it a positive spin,
please do.
I recently listened to something that Jeff Bezos was talking about with regards to industrial bubbles. And what he was referring to is he said there's a great distinction between a financial bubble and an industrial bubble. A financial bubble basically is a collapse of a financial system, and there's just pain to it. An industrial bubble is an expression of a capitalist system where, given a range of incentives, capital flows into all kinds of different types of ideas, good ideas, bad ideas, everything gets funded. But the conclusion of it is that at the end of it, you are left with a step progress in terms of, certain of we don't know which ones basically really are going to be the winners and the losers. Some, I think, I have certain views, for example, about, the use of ammonia, which is highly, highly toxic. I just think it's an evolutionarily blind alley. But I think equally there are other technologies out there that require this level of enthusiasm and capital investment to be developed and will help us 5, 10, 15 years down the line, edge us onto where we need to be in terms of, improving our industry and getting our emissions down.
Okay, this leads me to another question, which, again, puzzles me a little bit. Or maybe it's a question that you can resolve. Is it a good idea to be an early adopter, or should we wait and see what works before we start putting it on our ships? I'm speaking within the Greek market, as you understand. Paulis.
Thank you very much for the invitation and congratulations on the 20th anniversary of this meeting. I was thinking when I was coming here what I'm going to say about the IMO, because a lot has been happening the last 5-6 weeks. And to my understanding, what has happened in these 5-6 weeks was that we realized as ship owners that our voice is not heard. We had in beginning of October, just a week before the MEPC of IMO, we had the Maritime Cyprus Conference in Limassol, attended by more than 1,000 people. Many Greek ship owners attended. Some of them are here today. over 50, I counted over 50 ship owners. I didn't hear a single one that was in favor of the measures of net zero framework. Some of them, they were completely against it, and some of them, like me, were mildly against it. But of course, as a union of Cyprus ship owners, we have to follow what the majority of our members want, and the vast majority of our members was totally against this net zero framework. I had a brief conversation after the first day of the panels of the first day with the IMO Secretary General, Arsenio Dominguez, who was in Cyprus. I say, he was sitting 2 seats next down the line. I say, Arsenio, you heard what the ship owners said. He said, yes, I heard, but it's only some of the ship owners. It's not. So basically, I mean, the people who are located in the place that take the decisions are not ship owners. They are people who have other vested interest into all those regulations. They are people who had projects ready to be financed by all this money that ship owners or charterers or consumers would pay. There are many people that when the decision was taken to postpone and also for Greece and Cyprus to abstain from the voting, that turned out forcefully against ship owners, accusing them for conspiracy and other things, even threatening some reports that the European Union should go and look into the state aid guidelines and should punish the Greek ship owners, the Cypriot ship owners for what they have done. But Greek and Cypriot ship owners and generally the Trump ship owners, they wanted their voice to be heard for the first time. And I think we should see the bigger framework. We are not properly represented in all these fora that they take these decisions. I mean, it's not only the liner companies. There are other people who hold very high-rank positions. They have climbed the ladder over the years. They have grabbed those positions, and are the people that they were issuing threats during the IMO session when they realized that Greece and Cyprus would go on a neutral position. We didn't go against the net zero. We went to a neutral position to abstain from the voting on the postponement that the US brought across. And if you see the outcome of this voting, the nations that were against, that they wanted the postponement or they abstained from the voting, are all the large maritime nations of the world: the United States of America, the China, Japan, Korea, Singapore, Philippines, Greece, Cyprus. All of them, they were against, or they didn't vote for the net zero framework. Why all these people could not gather from before and grab those positions in this let's say fora that make the decisions before we reach this point and we start arguing whether we will apply a regulation that will be collecting 30 billion in the first year from shipping, and then this 30 billion may go to 50 billion. No one knows where all this money will be spent. Will be spent on crazy projects, on non-viable projects. Who will take all this money? I know companies that they had projects for 200 million funding from this IMO corridor. I mean, I'm talking about North European companies. The Greek ship owners have nothing in place. We don't expect to receive anything, and people who believe that the owners will receive something out of these funds, I mean, we are dreaming. It's not, we are going to pay ourselves whatever improvements we do on the ships. So I think Greece and Cyprus should take advantage of the geopolitical shift that is happening right now, the involvement of the United States, the interest of the United States showing in the area, in geopolitics, in the energy sector in Greece, in Cyprus, and get together and see how we can change the thinking of Europe and how we can get things done that would be sustainable and people could afford to pay.
Okay, thank you. Now, Stavroula, can we have the question one? We have this nice little thing where we can ask the audience's opinion. about the topics that we're discussing on the way through. Seeing as they're all too shy at the moment, at least, I should send out Sphenakia to make you all a bit livelier, I think. But there's, can we get that up? Here we go. Just scan that in, and we can hear the silent voice. And the question is going to come up, I hope, because I can't remember what I wrote. We need the question as well, Stavroula, unless it comes on the phone. Yes, of course. Sorry, may I interrupt?
Whilst we're waiting for the question, Polly, though I do agree with what you're saying, and you have a valid point, we're forgetting that 2025 has been a roller coaster. It has been a year unprecedented. We've had so many things to look at. Where should I start? Russian-Ukraine war, Houthis, tariffs, US port fees, Chinese port fees. So when you're dealing with all of these political situations and geopolitical situations that are ongoing, it is very difficult to have your eyes set on everything and to be able to think about everything. Sorry, so I think that it's important to also stress that we're living in unprecedented times where we have to, each tweet changes our geopolitical situation. It's an era where we have to be reactive versus proactive. We cannot take decisions based on fundamentals and based on the market needs, but rather we're taking decisions where we're going to take a vessel according to what, for example, USTR, penalize Chinese vessels. So great, suddenly the asset
Okay,
values...
hold on a second, we're coming on to that, don't worry, we'll have a lot to say on that in a second.
But anyways, my point was that there's so many geopolitical situations going on, changing every day, having everyday different decisions to make, that it's normal to...
If I may add to that so we can close the topic, I think, for better or for worse, this is shipping today. So we should adapt accordingly. It's not just supply and demand anymore. It's rather complicated. And we should, become more agile, I guess. It's not that I like it or I don't, but this is the fact.
I think Milena is very right on what she said before, that shipping it was a risky business. Now it's much riskier than it used to be. And I don't know if the next generation or the generation after next would like to get involved too much in shipping when the risk will be simply increasing every 10 years or so. We are too busy, all of us and all the people I know, we are too busy in our offices running a business which is becoming riskier and riskier, and try to take cover wherever you can. We heard Mr. Martinos just before giving the predictions for 2026 and make some of us thinking what we should do tomorrow when we get in the office. So there are other people who take advantage of the lack of cohesion and the lack of communication between ship owners, and there are other people that they have no money at stake, that they are running the show and they are taking the decisions, or very big companies with huge funding. Whilst we are not able to respond, or we're able to get together. I mean, we see that all the calls that Greek ship owners make, it's at the last moment. It's at the last moment, and it has to start from somewhere. It could be Mr. Prokopiou one time, Ms. Angelikousis on another time, Mr. I don't know, Economou, but it all comes at a very late point, and we cannot formulate it into a policy that we have it there from the start and we built on it. And of course, the Union of Greek Ship Owners, I have to say, they did a good job relevant to what was going on in Europe. And but I think that what saved us in this occasion was the political will of both the Prime Minister of Greece, Mitsotakis, and our President, Nikos Christodoulidis from Cyprus. They took a decision and they heard what the United States as well wanted to say, because both countries are very close to the US. And I think the turning point was this press release from the State Department on the Saturday before the IMO, where 3 ministers signed on that, and should be honest, after that we became focused.
Okay.
I mean, we became focused on what line we should take.
And the audience seems to agree with you as well. We've got 69% people saying that the net zero fund proposal should be adopted. Quite a balance in the other way. Mr. Efianidis.
I cannot more than agree, and we should not forget that the greatest mistake of IMO was the decisions of 2008, where without making the proper impact studies, we took political decisions which were totally unrealistic. Nobody wants to say that we want to stop progress, we don't want to fight for a better environment, sustainability. But on the other hand, it's utopic and a big fallacy to expect that 50,000 vessels or 60,000 vessels will be ready by 2050, and then we go for the next years for the intermediary targets on targets which are supported by vocal vested interests and driven by liquidity of not efficient organizations and the lack of transparency of how these funds are spent. So we fully support this concept, and this is not to say, because someone could say, we're there out of dialogue, not because we can be threatened by anybody. But it's only fair to say that we only want to do is to do things which are materialistic and also to the wellness of the world economy, not to make political decisions which then create great divisions even between ourselves. So to be very conscious and very careful of what we're doing.
Yeah, but I want to point up to there again. The question says, do you agree that the net zero fund proposal should be adopted by the IMO? And in this room, and I'm going to move away a little bit from the front row here, if I may, and talk to some other people. You have a question. You don't have a microphone. Calliope, give him a microphone. Okay.
While you're finding the microphone, could I just add something to what the kind gentleman just said? About because he made a very, very important point about the unrealistic expectations that were set in 2008. And just to make sure that at least within this room, because I'm quite surprised with 30% of the people, still supporting this thing. So I think it's important to kind of correlate it to perhaps again to other industries. If we look at exactly what you just said in the car industry, consider how the car industry has been driven, at least the European car industry, has been driven to the brink of extinction. Such a massive, powerful industry with such an important impact in daily and social life. And why? Because they acceded to exactly the same thing. They accepted an unrealistic framework for political reasons, and now in 2025, they're sitting here and basically saying, we are going to go bankrupt en masse. We're finished. We need to change this thing. So we're lucky in the sense that we are.
We have breathing space, yeah? We have breathing space. We've got a gap to fill in the gaps. We've got some time to readjust and reassess and give things to work themselves out again in a more favourable way. Now, a question from near the back. Your name, please, sir?
Good evening. I'm Stylianos Mourtzanos from Eurotankers, and I have small questions. First of all, I would like to respectfully disagree with Mr. Hadjiouanou on how the events were developed.
Okay, but that's happened now, okay? You can talk about it over a drink, okay? I mean, we can argue about what happened in life. Come on.
Other than that, I would like to ask that the text was there since 2023. Why it all happened now, since we know that if any other administration than the Trump administration was in the US,
okay, so
we adopted.
Basically, okay, we had all this time. Why did it happen now? I think you've already answered that question because the ship owners didn't have a voice. But is that what you would say now, Polis?
Look, ship owners will react in the last moment as usual. I mean, this is
Trump ship owners as well, I think.
The Trump ship owners. We're talking. We're running our businesses, and we have to dance according to the market with the ups and downs and the risk and everything else. And we realize that something bad is coming to us a few weeks or a few months before it is voted. So at that point, we start running and trying to develop an opinion and try to see how we can postpone things or slow them down. This time we were a bit lucky because, as I said, both US and China were against it. Next time we will not be lucky. Honestly, I don't know which way we can manage to influence decisions in the future. The thing I know is that Greek ship owning is 21% of the world fleet, and the decisions are taken by people that they have no ships. They are sitting in the boards and they are sitting in the top positions in Europe and elsewhere, and they make decisions about how to collect money, that they will use it on stupid projects, on projects that they will not decarbonize shipping, on projects that they will make good money for some, I don't know how I should name them, few people here and there, on doing, I know in Limassol there is one project funded with 11 million euros about a barge to move for 1 mile lube oil from the port to the anchorage and coming back. They will got a funding of 11 million euros. What sort of emissions you save from a barge going just a mile out once or twice a week and coming back to the port? Anyways, this is where the money will go. This is where the money will go. Don't have any doubt about it.
I think we're just coming back next year and we'll see where we are, okay? I think this is, but talking about next year, if I could move on. As I said, I was at this thing in China, and it was pointed out, because the big thing is the US and China at the moment. I mean, this IMO thing was something, it was the first time that the US really got involved with the IMO when they noticed that there was something going on, and this is probably, in my view at least, the catalyst of this realization. But let me shift it a little bit further. China, as you say, voted with the USA in this particular point, which seemed strange to me at the time, considering the investment that they had made on, and are still making, electric cars, solar panels. They're flooding the market everywhere, and they've invested, according to my friends, the Shanghai Maritime University and CSSC, huge amounts of money in research on renewable and sustainable energy going forward. Batteries is the thing, that are nuclear, not so much as what they're looking for. But when USTR, let's move on to that. Okay, I hope you're not waiting up or going out anywhere. We've got a lot to cover. The USTR came along. First of all, the States came out with it, we know all that, and then China came out with the next thing, and then suddenly everything was fine again, or postponed for another year, because of rare earth at the bottom of it all. I say this because I was I hear it on good terms from a lawyer that knows a lawyer who's close to the USTR, that basically somebody close in the tech industry to Trump said, you know what, making US shipbuilding great again, it's not really a vote winner after all. No one really cares, okay? But they do care about computers, they do care about tech, they do care about AI, etc., etc. So my question really is, after all of that, has shipping been saved by huge, small amounts of cargo that don't go in ships? Is world trade being affected so much by things that we can't even see at the moment? And is geopolitics more than ever, even in these situations and these different types of negotiations that take place, that wrong for everywhere, make the market easier to read or a lot more difficult to read? Okay, basically, the question is, what is it apart from the personality of Mr. Trump, that you see being the big drivers in geopolitics in the next, well, let's say year, because we can't even see beyond anything else? Anybody want to take that? George, thank God for that.
I'm ambivalent about the reaction of the US government, so I won't go there first. But what I think is very important is to understand the context of why the United States and China are colliding on the issue of shipbuilding, why this has become such a powerful topic. If we go back to 1945, the United States came out of the World War one of the preeminent shipbuilders of the world. With the change of status and the advent over the decades of the Pax Americana, effectively, the United States allowed other countries effectively to take over the role of shipbuilders, particularly of commercial shipbuilders, and so on. We come, however, to where we are today. And where we are today is that China has become now the largest builder of vessels in the world. And China no longer disguises the fact that its civilian shipbuilding program and its military shipbuilding programs are completely interlinked.
But did it ever really? I mean, if you went to Hudong and you were building a Kamsarmax or a Panamax there was an aircraft carrier next door for years.
Well, this is the point, right? In 2015, the Chinese government passed a regulation through the Chinese Classification Society, introducing People's Liberation Army, so basically PLA requirements for all Chinese flag civilian tonnage. I can give you an example. Ferry boats. Ferry boats that are built to Chinese class for Chinese owners need to be strengthened to carry 42-ton tanks. All vessels that can take passengers need to have egress positions so that they can be used as troop carriers. And in the war games the naval blockade, let's say, that China put up around Taiwan as a display of strength in the last year of the Biden administration, they started to openly test the interoperability of the civilian fleet with the military fleet. And this all opened to the eyes of the world. And it became starkly evident to the United States that should they get into a shooting war with the Chinese, both will lose ships, but the Chinese will be able to rebuild and the Americans won't. And that is a strategic advantage that America cannot give up. It's perilous from their position.
Okay, that's fair enough. But
and what you said, I think, is completely true, because it was happening right under our eyes. Bohai, Jiangnan, Dalian, all are names that are very, very familiar to us. These are critical pieces of China's military naval development. So when you see this, you realize, the US administration realized that what they should have done should have started 15 years ago. And now they're scrambling to react.
But it sounds a bit like the IMO regulations.
Yes.
Milena, you had a point to raise on this.
To be very honest with you, I don't know what the question is, but I got a little bit of a history lesson here.
Yes, okay.
But I did want to put some numbers on that to show how the strength of China. 72% of the order book is Chinese, is ordered at Chinese yards, and 48% of the world fleet right now is Chinese built. So that's how strong China is. That being said, I'm not sure what we're discussing right now, what your question was.
My question, well, that's very good, because I'm not entirely convinced either. My question basically is that trade wars can be caused by political movements in the United States and then be resolved by power politics over rare earths because of a powerful lobbying group with President Trump, his tech bros, How easy is it for ship owners to actually, again, trade? When we remember, for first of all, USTR, there was a big question mark about exactly what ships could go and what they could do and so on and so forth in China. For dry bulk shipping, most of us were off the hook on that, certainly. And then the big shock, I think, was when the Chinese came around and said, okay, not so much United States-built ships, okay, they're not going to go far from home, are they? But the US-owned company, 25% directors, this is something I think that most of your companies had to address almost immediately as soon as these Chinese rules came out. So my question is, how easy is it for you as ship owners to navigate all this stuff when you don't know what's going to happen next, and you don't know how it's going to resolve, and more importantly, how it's going to affect the freight markets and all the investment decisions going forward?
Well, I think that Ismini already told you that we have to adapt to the situation at hand. But I think also 2025 has been exactly the definition of what you're saying. We had a weak Q1 where China especially pulled back and waited to see the tariffs coming into play for Mr. Trump. We had a stronger Q2, Q3, where you saw that Mr. Trump decided to postpone those tariffs. So there was a lot of front loading, a lot of restocking. Everyone was very active in the market. Then Q3, again, we were waiting for the IMO. So you see that there's a lot of political decisions taking the driver's seat instead of supply-demand fundamentals and supply-demand market conditions going on. So we are having to retroact according to and decipher these new legislations. I remember when the Chinese came back with the tit-for-tat port fees. It was a Friday, the 11th. We were on calls, especially because we're a US-listed company. So we were on calls all of the weekend, destroyed my weekend.
I'm sorry.
Trying to decipher what these legislations were. And then come Monday, the Chinese vessels are exempt, which was a huge relief. And, you know, which is quite interesting to see, because it's the wolf warrior type of diplomacy where they put something really effective out there, and then they have different ways of being able to make it read more leniently or more strictly.
It's meaning. I just take on because we've... Thank you.
As I said before, we are ship owners, okay? We've had our markets that we know, our supply and our demand, but we've always had disruption. We've had wars, we've had COVID, we had scrubbers and water ballast treatment decisions that we had to take. Now we have geopolitics at its full force, and primarily because of the uncertainty of Mr. Trump, who wants to keep us on our toes constantly. And yes, we have to take all that into consideration. And let's not forget that a lot of ship owners have flourished over the years because of these disruptions, they have taken smart decisions based on their predictions and have taken advantage of this disruption. In particular, I don't want to play smart or anything, but when back in February, Mr. Trump came out with his ideas on tariffs about the Chinese-built vessels, I was actually in the middle of negotiating a Chinese-built ship. I was very close at finalizing the deal. And,
selling the ship, yeah? Selling or buying?
Buying a Chinese-built ship.
Okay.
We didn't know exactly what the framework was going to be back then, but it was in the madness of it, where charterers stopped chartering vessels. It was a bit of a standstill. And I had this decision to take, whether I should go ahead or pull back. I was quite deep in the deal, where it would have been embarrassing to really pull out.
I'm tempted to ask who the broker was, but I won't.
And I really thought it very deeply and very seriously. And I said, you know what? My belief is that whatever he decides to do, he will probably, it would not be as evasive and as serious to be bad deal for our company to really make us lose and not make any money on it, really. And I said, okay, I will go ahead with it. I have given my word. We're signing in a couple of days. Because I decided to bet on the fact that Trump always changes his mind, really.
Okay, or the other one, what's it called? Trump always chickens out. Okay.
That sort of thing.
Mr. Chairman, please.
Yes. In my opinion, Nixon and Kissinger made a huge mistake when they brought China into the World Trade Organization. If that hadn't happened, they would be there in the back alleyway, and we wouldn't have these problems. Thank you.
Okay.
And sorry, could I just say...
Well, thank you very much for that reasonable and...
Simon, that's an important point. And there was a reason for the history lesson. And the reason for the history lesson is because I want to highlight that this issue is not going away. This is going to come back. This is a major strategic issue for the United States. It's a major strategic issue for its allies.
And for China.
The best way to... I think the best description of trying to understand this wrestling was a quote from The Economist, which described the United States and China as two serpents that are, in the effort to break free from one another, are tightening their grip on each other. So we're caught. We are the lifeblood of global trade. We are going to be caught in the middle of this thing. My takeaway from Trump backing down was that, because we have a very strong US nexus as well, so I'm treating it as a brief respite that we have time to reorganize ourselves so that when this thing comes back, that we are not going to be as exposed as we were, out of the cold blue sky when China, did its countermeasures to the United States. So we should be very mindful of these.
But this brings opportunities too. Yeah, I mean, for those, fortune favors the brave. If people like Ismini say, okay, this is what's happening this week, if what's happening in 2 weeks' time or 2 years' time is something different, there's a big benefit to be made from that, yeah?
Well,
and you have made a benefit for buying that. Panamax, I guess, too.
The problem is that with this degree of volatility, it's very hard to navigate a coherent commercial strategy around it. That's the most complicated thing. Numbers are bouncing around all over the place. We run a big tanker system, and with a significant number of sister vessels. And often the performance between the ships over the last sort of year and a half is really down to the luck of a particular positioning at a particular time. So yes, it does offer opportunity, but unfortunately, in my perspective, that brings in much more of an element of luck than it does of design.
Okay. Paulus.
Yes.
Excuse me a second, Paulus. Can we have question number 2 up as well? Let's get the voting out the way whilst we're talking. Paulus, go ahead.
So yes, I agree with George in a way that ship owners will be more prepared for the next round because it will be a second round on this story. I hope it lasts for 1 year. The truce may not last even for 1 year. But China indeed surprised people on the 10th of October that they announced the counterport tariffs against non-Chinese ships, and with immediate effective date on the 14th of October. So they allowed you just a weekend to think about it. And I was thinking that weekend we had a crisis meeting with the guys in the office.
I think you all did. I think you should have just gone on holiday together that weekend, I think.
We didn't know what would apply, what our charters would say. Charters were calling us to divert ships and things like that. We say, guys, if you can divert, divert. The one thing that was important for me to understand is that irrespective where the ships will be fixed, whatever anomaly comes to the market will push the market up. And this will help anyway, even if you have Japanese ships and they cannot go in China, they will go somewhere else, and the other guys from $15,000, they are getting $20,000, you will be getting $20,000 on other business. That's not the problem. The main problem we had is what will happen if China one day say to you that you cannot repair a non-Chinese ship in China. This is a major thing. They control the ship repair industry. They control the dry dockings of maybe 95%, 90%, 85%. You don't have other options. And I mean, they have so much power concentrated in their hands, the Chinese, and I don't think this is reversible. So we have to find a way between the top maritime nations of how to get through all those things. And sometimes we go to New York and we have meetings with the funds and other listed companies, and they say, what is your strategy? Are you long or short, medium charter, period charter, spot market? And you say, you know, I mean, Trump ship owner, what sort of strategy? Let's see what our notes. We have 30% period, 70% spot. And we say we are more into the spot market than because we think the market will go up. If you are vice versa, you are 70% period and 30% spot. You say the opposite, that you believe that the market will drop, and that's why you went on period. There's no strategy in shipping, especially Trump shipping. You know, I mean. We just say to people what they want to hear, and we keep going, and we keep going like that, you know. So.
And I thought it was just shipbrokers that did that. And
yes, we copy you sometimes.
Well. Welcome to the Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers. You're very welcome. Now, look, I'm going to have to skip the markets because we've all just decided that we can't really talk too much about the markets because we don't know what's going to happen next. But following Mr. Thanasis' comments, does anybody have a brief comment on what he said? And just to remind you, he said that VLCC is fantastic. Capesize is fantastic, small feeder vessels fantastic, all the rest is either the same, which for dry isn't bad, steadily decreasing in MRs, sorry George, or containers go home. So do you agree with the analysis, or do you think, Milena, that you have a different angle?
Well, first of all, finally, we're talking a little bit about supply-demand, a little bit about my market, because it seems that geopolitics and politics have taken front row and we haven't discussed anything else.
I'm sorry.
That being said, I have to say that I think shipping thrives from inefficiencies, and I think that all of this will work to our benefit in the end. Reallocation, reshuffling of the trades and the vessels.
On the basis that inefficiencies are good for the shipping market generally?
Well, yeah. I mean, they've always worked that's how we operate best, and we always operated in the unknown. So I will again side with Ismini on this one. And I do agree with Polis that it will push up the markets. But I definitely agree with Mr.
Sorry, I just said Isidora's just gone off the fix. One of our favorite dry cargo shipbrokers, she's just hitting the phones right now, just on your recommendation, so good. She's just left to take the call, so... You are a market driver, Milena.
She drove off.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with him, and we just invested in the feeder containers market as well, because it does have an aging fleet, and it has the smallest order book, about 6 to 8%. I think that Cape sizes will go through the roof at some point because we have Simandu, New Guinea coming into play. That's ton miles, which is much more important than volumes. It's good, it's high Fe content iron ore, and the most important, it's Chinese interests. So they will definitely be going to...
How many Cape sizes do you have at the moment?
I don't know, 30-something.
Will you marry me?
No, because you cut me off before, and I didn't...
Okay, well, I'm sorry. You see? Risk. You know, you never know which way it's going to go. Anyway, carry on. Sorry.
No, VLCC I don't have an opinion on. I've only seen that they have a small order book. But in the face of uncertainty and in the face of geopolitical situations changing all the time, what I would do and what I urge our company to do is China's not going away anytime soon. They have all the repair yards. They have all the yards. They have the biggest, we have a lot of orders there, 72% of the order book. They are the driving force on the side of demand. So what I would do is focus on supply-demand fundamentals, aging fleet, and I would carry on taking the decisions and the strategy according to that kind of, with that profile in mind, and then follow according to the geopolitical decisions being made and try to adapt. It's going to be the same problem for everyone. So that's a level playing field, more or less, in the sense that we all don't know what's going to happen. And it might be USTR favoring Japanese, Korean vessels, and then it changes the next day to Chinese. We'll have to wait and see, but until then, I would look at the supply-demand and go that way.
George.
The disadvantage of following comments of Thanasio Martino is that obviously you may be a real idiot afterwards. The good thing is that nobody will remember what you said, but they'll remember what he said. So that allows you to sort of riff a little bit. So I just basically landed back, as you know, from Dubai, from Bari Week. So we had, among other things, there were a lot of discussions about what's happening in the product tanker market, especially the MR2s, which of course Mr. Martinos referred to, and the quite sizable order book. The one thing I can say, and it slightly sort of differentiates itself from what Milena was saying in terms of inefficiencies, is the Red Sea. The Red Sea, when the Red Sea closed, effectively, the Houthis closed the Red Sea, this had a very devastating impact on MR tankers, handy tankers, intermediates, and so on. It effectively created an iron wall that separated the Mediterranean market from the Persian Gulf, and a lot of the Persian Gulf regional trade on MRs and intermediates wilted away. So certainly if you're sort of looking around the corner and saying that, you know, that particular conflict will defragment, you can probably look at improvements in ton-mile for the smaller vessels. It will probably not be great for LR2s because you'll see a shift of cargo back. You won't necessarily, it's not linear in the sense that the product tankers are the means with which petrochemical complexes of the world compete with one another. So Eastern petrochemical complexes don't need to compete in the West, and the Western ones don't need to compete in the East. They will do it if they have a degree of predictability
And the dividing
and they can move cargoes around.
And the dividing line is the Suez Canal.
Yes.
Okay.
And so we saw after the sort of 2-3 month boom in rates when the Houthi effectively shut the Red Sea, the fall that came afterwards was far greater than we had anticipated. So hopefully we'll see that come back. That's as far as the MR2s. The only other thing that I think is a thought that's worth considering in terms of total demand and supply is what I perceive as an alarming sort of, dry bulk and tankers and container values are all right now underpinned by the strength of the container market. Why? Because the container market is the one that's driving the vast majority of new building activity, okay? And our values in tankers right now are derived off a new building curve where that pricing actually is because of the containers. If that pin is pulled out, you are going to see a rebalancing of values across the entire industry. You are also going to see replacements of orders happening. And we saw this, if you guys remember, back in 2011, 2012, when a number of owners at that time were changing cape sizes into Suezmaxes. And suddenly everyone arrived at the same idea, and suddenly there was this huge bump in Suezmax orders because of these conversions. So I would say that we all need to be, in all sectors, we need to realize that that's out there. I don't understand the strength of the container market. I really don't. It's happening, it's there, we've made money in it, but we sold out, again, because we don't understand this market. But I'm very mindful of the potential impact it will have on our tanker fleets.
Okay. Now, we are running out of time, ladies and gentlemen, and this is, panelists, your fault, okay? You have... Okay, don't look at me like that. Okay. Because you've been brilliant. You've engaged and I think given us all food for thought. But there's one thing that I always like to do at these forums, and this is to get your point of view for our members and for future members. And I'd like to ask you a few questions. Let's call it around career development. Because this is a thing that a lot of us are interested in and worry about. I mean, obviously, I'm not as young as I was, but there's plenty the majority of the people in this building are a lot younger than I even was. So, first of all, can I ask you, and can we make it quick fire because we've got to move on to some other stuff. And they're very short questions and easy to understand this time, okay? No, I'm just a rambling old fool, okay? What are you looking for, generally, as personalities from potential employees? Are you looking for qualifications or character? Which tips the balance for you when you're looking to hire new people? This is dangerous, I know, as the professional education body, but nonetheless, we have to go out there. Ismini.
I'll give it a try. That's a great question, Simon, because when we met, you said, you know, I don't want this forum to be like another just conference talking about the market and talking about...
I think I mentioned marine money, in fact.
Yes. Which is great because this is what ICS is about, and I feel that we need to give advice and we need to inspire people to follow our industry and to really make the right steps on the beginning of their careers. And I see a lot of young faces in here. No offense to the first row over here. But answering your question, I think qualifications is somewhere you need to start from. Okay, when we all receive a piece of paper giving us the basic data, I would say simply of a person, it's what it makes us take this person into the next phase. So undoubtedly, on paper, you have to look good. Then, obviously, you have an interview that maybe 2 and maybe 3, and maybe some psychometric examination now that it's really popular, or some
Horoscopy,
or some other tests that people might want to give. But I think that say a lot. But I think we should not forget that the base for someone to start, and especially at a younger age and at the beginning of their career, is qualifications. And it doesn't have to be shipping qualifications. Okay, it doesn't have to be a shipping-related degree. It could be a finance degree. It could be a legal degree. It could be even a doctor's degree. Because, you know, becoming and getting the degree of a medical doctor gives you other types of characteristics. And all of a sudden, you might decide that you want to have a shift in your career. No one is excluded. It's the dedication they have given to a serious degree that they really wanted to go through.
Okay, Milena.
During GMF 2 weeks ago, when we were in Antwerp, we did several workshops. One of the workshops that I participated was, we went to the university there, Antwerp University, and the question from all of the students was exactly that. What qualification do you need? What background do you guys need? I will agree with Ismini in the sense that you can have a perfect CV, but for me what's most important is loyalty, honesty, and transparency. And I say this because you make a mistake. You should be able to own up to it because that's the only way that you can fix it. You should be loyal because there are very delicate matters that we are discussing, like a deal, or you listen to things because you're exposed to different departments, claims, for example. So for me, these are the most important qualifications, and they supersede your degrees. It's important, of course, depending on what department you're in, if you're in IT and you don't do very well, because that actually happened to me, and you erase your files, well, that was a little bit of a mishap there. But again, for me, loyalty, transparency, and honesty are the most important things, and those are the things that we look at. And we have seen a lot of successful people working with us thanks to those qualifications.
Thank you. George?
I think there was a model answer there from Milena. I don't really have something to add. Both ladies did a great job on that.
Okay, let me move on then. Drilling a little deeper. Is there anything, panelists, professionally or personally, that you did in the past that you would do differently now? Okay, George is honest George tonight. Well, I hope you're being honest anyway.
I'm going to answer in a slightly sideways way. A couple of years ago, we started investing in tech companies. And a couple of Israeli startup companies. And I mentioned the Israelis in particular because I was extremely impressed by the way they treat failure, which was very different to the way that I had been brought up to deal with failure. They really look at mistakes as a kind of stepping stone and an opportunity to improve it. They move very, very quickly. They accept it and they move forward. I had been in my own sort of upbringing and in the way perhaps that I was even treat my own mistakes when I look at myself, I take a sort of much more negative, I sort of eat myself out about it. And I say, oh my God, this and that and the other. And I realized it really started a profound thought process of, hang on a second, this is so much healthier a way to learn from your mistakes, to kind of move forward, to accept them, and so on. So I wanted to share that with you guys, because I think if you sort of go out and look for this thing, it has an incredibly transformative ability to change your lives professionally and personally and so on.
Okay, so thank you. Anyone else want to add to that?
I don't want to keep monopolizing. That's why I
You're
try
not
not to answer too much. But I think, just to add, I think it's one thing that I do regret was when I wanted to go to Asia and do an internship there, and I didn't do it. It was 2007, 2008, so that would have been a fantastic time to be there. Nevertheless, I went directly to our private then company. So what I would say, what I would urge people to do is travel, meet people, take any opportunity that's out there for you, meet people from maritime shipping has people from different backgrounds, of different experiences, different cultures. So get out there and meet everyone. I think that's my best advice to you, and that's something that I would never, ever change. How much I travel. I've never regretted one travel that I've made.
Okay, thank you.
If I may add to that I'm definitely, I totally agree to what Milena said. Just go out there, travel, meet people, explore, because these are your productive years. These are the years that you have more time and you can absorb a lot. But it's a bit contradicting as a personal experience. I was at this crossroad back in 2006 when I graduated from my university in Boston, then I went to London, and then I did the second degree, and I was at the crossroad. Okay, what should I do now? What should I do? Should I continue exploring, get myself exposed to some working environment abroad, or should I come back home to the family business? For various reasons, I decided to come back home, and it was contrary to the advice I was getting. And one could say that, yes, I could regret it now, but out of luck, really, I don't regret it, because it was 2006. I entered the market at a point where it started rising. I started seeing, especially in the dry bulk market, I saw the very top of the market, and then in a couple of years later, in 2008, I saw the very bottom of the market. So in a glimpse of 2-3 years, especially in the beginning of my career, I saw two extremes that have defined me since then, and they have defined my decision-making and my stance in this business. So luck also plays a role, and that was my personal experience, but I don't regret it, although I love traveling and I love learning new things, and this would be my advice anyway.
Okay. Right, last question. You'll be glad to know. I'm not sure if I am. Okay, very easy one. And it's one that I'm going to be asking for question 3 for your thing. Do you think a work-life balance is ever possible working in the shipping industry? Okay, and because you are not voting, I want just a brief sentence or two, or even a word.
Perfect answer.
So, I think, anyone want to take that? Polis, please.
Yeah, look, shipping is you have to work 10 hours a day minimum, 12 hours most of the days, and you have to put in maybe 5 hours on Saturdays and a couple of hours on Sundays. So if you add to that family, and I have 5 kids, and you have to grow up a good family and give them the good values and be with them when they grow up and not miss the important years. You shouldn't be working more than what I just described, you know. It's about enough. It's about enough. I know ship owners. I know some ship owners, they are working much more than that. I know, and I admire them, how they manage to do it, but me personally, I cannot do it. My advice also to young people entering into shipping, it's a fascinating business that you can really grow and develop, and you can achieve things you've never dreamed or you never believed. Okay, we were a little bit more lucky because our fathers, we started with, we had the capital there to start, but we develop our business, and we all, at least the people I see here, we all develop what we have received from the previous generation. So young people, the only thing I see, and I speak mostly for the Cypriot guys, I'm seeing more the last 10 years, what I'm trying on to pass to them is that sometimes, you know, the managers and the top management, we try to educate people by making some, let's say, suggestions, some ideas. The young people with good studies, they don't take this today. In my age, when I was young, I was taking this from the people my father had in the office. I remember for 8 years I was reporting to the general manager of the office in London and to my father. I was reading to them, I was advising to them what I was learning in the Baltic Exchange at the time. I was happy to do that. I was prepared to take a comment back and what is these stupid things you said to me and where did you hear that? But young people today, they don't take this, and this comes out of people who have 30 or 40 years experience. It's good to listen to them. They don't say this to you in order to make you feel bad. They make these comments to you because they want to pass to you something that will develop you further. So if young people, they understand this, I think they will overachieve in their careers.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chairman.
If you want my view, I'm in the the salvage casualty business. Everyone has to be willing to work 24/7. If something happens, then everybody is awake and working.
Okay, so perhaps that's not...
Is not the worst employer, the shipping business. We are worse.
Okay.
I want to give a positive spin because I think we're discouraging discouraging all the youngs here. Obviously, the short answer.
I have to say that we're not selling ourselves here, are we?
Yeah, exactly. So, I think the short answer to your question, personally for me, as a mother of 3 children in elementary school, balancing personal life and work is an impossible equation to really solve. But I think that if one starts their career and devotes enough time, a lot more time in the beginning to develop, to learn, to mature in the business, to have a steep learning curve. I think they can reach a point where maybe in their 40s or 50s, they could juggle a better life balance. But that means that they will have their 20s and their 30s will probably be a bit sacrificed.
I think it depends on how your children grow up, frankly, but okay. Milena.
Ismini, I'm not so sure that that was a positive spin to that. Just to add something. I think that shipping becomes a part of your life, a part of the way that you think. It becomes your life. Like anything that happens in the world affects shipping with a time lag or immediately. So when you get into shipping, you start thinking about, oh, how is this going to affect? How's the weather going to affect? It's La Nina this year, so how's it going to affect the crops? How's it going to affect cold? So everything becomes part of your life. So what I would say, by the way, unhealthy advice, my father says I should work 24/7. My answer to him is work smart. Find people that are smarter than you and that will take something and specialize in it, that will help you out, that are loyal, that are honest, and that's how you make it through. I mean, I haven't figured it out.
Well, there's nobody smarter than you for a start, is there? So, George.
I don't really have much to add to that. I would just say that, if you see Elon Musk running what he runs, working 20 hours a day, then running a shipping company should really not take more than 4 hours a day.
Panelists, thank you. Weren't they fantastic? And they were so fantastic, only 4 of them, by the way, that they didn't let anyone else get a word in edgeways, which is what we wanted. So thank you again. I'm very happy that you're all here, and I'm very happy that we're all here. Now, it's true. Recently I have been feeling a bit jaded, a bit koros menos, and I've been feeling this for a while. And actually, frankly, it's been bothering me. And I would like to take this occasion, this special occasion, the 20th anniversary of the ICS Forum in Greece, to beg your patience and take a little bit of your time to share my feelings with you. Why have I felt jaded? Well, apart from what Ismini and Milena have said, maybe it's because I've been traveling too much. Maybe it's that nagging feeling that we all get, that my life is lacking purpose. All the usual stuff that we feel from time to time. And it's not just for me around this time that I was in an in-between place. I felt I didn't belong anywhere at all. As I think I mentioned, I was in Vancouver last week to speak at an ICS conference on dry bulk commodities. I'm glad I went. The Vancouver chapter of the ICS Canada branch puts on an excellent conference. But even though I gave a presentation on the shipping markets, in Vancouver, I can tell you they're more interested in commodities than they are in ships. Nonetheless, it was very interesting, and I'm glad I went. Another evidence of the universality of the ICS around the world. But there was one thing that really got to me. At drinks afterwards, and holding my glass of red wine, as usual, I think you know me, I was cornered by somebody that wanted to talk. You know the kind of person I mean. Somebody wants to tell you it in full. And he did. He started by saying that I must find living in Greece difficult. I said, no, I love it. But what about the Greeks? He said. Aren't they difficult people to get along with? On the contrary, I said, everyone has their moments, and I don't find Greeks particularly difficult. And then he started going on about how Greek ship owners are irresponsible, they cut corners, they're argumentative, and so on and so forth. I didn't know what his problem was. Maybe he had a bad negotiation once. Maybe he came across a Greek captain that gave him a hard time. Maybe he had had his heart broken by a Greek woman. I really wish the latter was the case, because he would at least have known what it was like to be really alive. I was not particularly eloquent or forgiving in my replies. I was tired of him, and angry with him, and irritated and offended. And I'm afraid that I let my feelings show. I was cutting and sarcastic. I ended the conversation rudely and walked off to find somebody less irritating instead. Following day, in Vancouver, I was still cross. I took the ferry across the North Shore, and shipping nerd that I am, looked at all the ships alongside. Polis, one of your ships was there last week. The Petoulas Rose. Okay, I noticed it. Okay, thank you. I'm glad I wasn't hallucinating. I then checked the other ships on marine traffic, and I saw that half the ships in the harbour were Greek, and more Greek ships were waiting at anchorage to load. And I wanted to say to that irritating man, you could not do this without us. And then I thought to myself, I've just said us. "20 years ago, I started agitating with my then employers for a Greek office, which 3 years later, 2008, came into being. I strongly felt, I'm sorry, Mark, but I strongly felt at the time that Greece was the future centre of European shipping, 20 years ago. At the same time, Natalia was pushing ahead with the Hellenic Management Centre and developing the ICS Greek branch, starting its conversation with the shipping industry here. The story of my life in Greece is very much intertwined with the story of the ICS Greek branch. Natalia, the creator, the creativity, the charming hostess, the leader. Without her, I doubt I would be here or where I am today. Stavroula, the steely backbone, the driver, the engine. Bilio, Pulitzer, the kind, caring face that all students see and love. Efficient and welcoming. Difficult act. Tanya, is she here? Ah, she broke a toe. Okay. The financial enforcer. Tonya, the keenly intelligent interface with the industry, who will sadly be missed. Professional education in Greece for shipping is personified by the Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers Greek branch, the absolute best in class. Hundreds, thousands of people have passed through our doors and have been educated by dedicated lecturers, all of whom are working professionals. Our students have learnt, have met new people, created new pareas, have together helped improve the professionalism of Greek shipping, which now makes it so attractive to others moving here. And now they are spread all over the market, not only in Greece, but globally. They are our diaspora, and they matter. But here, amongst you, friends, former students, present students, owners, clients, fellow brokers, members, future clients, future students, future members, I do feel comfortable and alive. In Vancouver, I realized that my place in the world was informed and enriched and made sense, not just because of Greek shipping, not just because of Greeks or Greece, but because of my involvement with the Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers Greek branch, with the students past and present, with the members, and most of all, with Natalia, Stavroula, and their team. I know that I'm not Greek, and I continue to struggle studying Greek so I can pass the exam to get the passport. Many of you know of my struggles. I know that I will always be the Inglesos, but I also feel that I'm a better man than I was 20 years ago, better than when I started teaching with the ICS 15 years ago, better than when I became a member of the team with my dear friends at Orsa, even better than I was before I went away on my recent travels. None of that would ever have been possible for me without the ICS Greek branch, being such a central, foundational part of my life. Greek shipping is unique, as we found out tonight. Greek shipping is my home, and I'm very grateful to all of you who have helped me come home. It's exam season at the moment, and many of you would have slogged through one, even two exams today, shipping business, intro to shipping. Oh, you fixed? Yes. Okay, bravo, okay. Okay. Well, okay, I'll take the commission later. I'll send you an invoice, okay? Okay. Carlo. It's exam season at the moment, and two exams today, introduction to shipping, shipping business, and yeah, a lot of you have gone through what they have gone through today. But this bit is my favorite bit, where we honor the excellence of those students who took exams in the last academic year. The exams are not easy, and many are studying whilst holding down a full-time and demanding job in shipping. Many, like Ismini, have young families or other people to care for. We acknowledge those who excelled tonight, but I would also please like to congratulate all of those that passed against their expectations, against, how can I put this, against hope. People are very discouraging, especially in professional qualification, when they say, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. Why do you want to educate yourself? Get on with your life. People have to push through that, through parents, through friends, through boyfriends, I find especially, and do it themselves. So can we have a round of applause for all of those who have succeeded? But first up, let me see if I can find where everybody is. Ah, yes. First up, we have an award for Nadia Sarantopoulou, who achieved the distinction and highest marks in the Greek branch for Economics of Sea Transport, which will be awarded by Harris, please, of the UK Defence Club, and a former student of mine. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Now, despite working, this is one that I quite like. Despite working as an analyst for companies such as the Boston Consulting Group and Goldman Sachs, she got the shipping bug and is now working in New Vision Shipping as an operations assistant. I'm sure she's learning far more about the real shipping world than any financial institution could tell her. Congratulations, Nadia. Now, next up, we have Maria Anna Tuscu. She's over in the far corner over there, please, for a distinction and highest marks here in Greece for legal principles awarded by one of our lecturers, Harris Loukopoulos of Evelyn Shipping. Mariana is currently working as an SQE coordinator at Technomar Shipping. I think they will find and need her new legal knowledge and skills, as well as her hard-working attitude, and they will find that a great asset for the future. Congratulations, Mariana. Now, Stathis Rodriguez-Narcos. Who is he? Okay. Well, you can't miss him. Look at the size of him. He also achieved highest marks for legal principles and a distinction, this time awarded by Mark Buchholz, who is the Vice Chairman of the Global ICS. Now, despite his size, he's a youngster in shipping, but has started working as a dry bulk chartering broker, I understand. His social skills, as well as his hard-working attitude, combined with the newly acquired legal pointers, will surely make him a killer in the market. If that doesn't, his hands will, I think. Now, a few weeks ago, together with Antoni, Natalia, Stavroula, and a bunch of other Greeks, I can call myself that now, we were there at a table to attend the Global Prize winner dinner. I was very proud to be part of the Greek delegation once again, because we dominated the prize winning, 6 prizes. Even though 2 of our students are not Greek, they came to us to get real knowledge of shipping, and they have paid us back in full. But one, certainly a Greek, Trifonas Kosmos, Ella Trifona, achieved the almost impossible by winning global prizes in 2 of the most commercial and hardest disciplines, dry bulk chartering and tank chartering. So I would like to ask Spiros Vanvakas, who is a master at chartering himself, to present our appreciation of his achievement. After almost 10 years in the Hellenic Navy, becoming Naval Warfare Operations Officer, Trifonas came to the dark side and is now working as a Marine Assistant for Optra. The chartering markets may not always be outright war, but I'm sure his experience helped in preparing for the exams. Cosma, Ella, Trifona, ligaki εδώ. We have a few words for us, please. You tried to hide. Please tell us what you think.
Okay, I made a little speech.
Oh, good. I can't complain.
So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a real honor to stand here tonight among esteemed professionals, mentors, and friends from our maritime community. Receiving this award from our Greek branch is an incredible recognition that I thank them wholeheartedly. But for me, it's also a reminder of how much the ICS journey has shaped who I am professionally now. Although I work on the technical side of shipping now, the ICS program opened a completely new dimension for me. It gave me a broad and practical understanding of the commercial and operational aspects that drive our industry, knowledge that has truly complemented my daily work and changed the way I understand our shipping industry operates. It taught me always to seek and understand the why behind every decision made, both at sea and at shore, and that information is the most valuable commodity we have. But most importantly, the ICS experience gave me a sense of belonging to a global network of people who share the same respect for the profession, the same passion for learning, and the same commitment to excellence. Last but not least, I'm sincerely grateful to the Hellenic Management Center and Ms. Natalia Marioli for their continuous support and guidance, and I dedicate this recognition to my wife, Elena, who supported me along this amazing journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Trifona. And thank you, Mrs. Trifona. Emily, where are you, Emily? Come on, your turn. Okay, Emily Jorgensen achieved highest marks globally for Introduction to Shipping. And to award her our prize, Mrs. Amelia Milio-Theoharaki, please come and congratulate and award the delightful Emily. Now, Emily's first degree, a first, by the way, was in biology. I know I keep saying shipping is all about relationships, but this is ridiculous. Currently working in the commercial department of World Carrier Ship Management, I know she is ambitious and hungry for more. Watch out for this one. She's going to go places. Emily, a few words, please.
I too have prepared a few words. Congratulations to Trifon and Henry, my fellow prize winners. And good evening, everybody. It is a real honor to be here today to receive the prize, and I'm very grateful to the Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers, and in particular the Greek branch, for this recognition. Studying with the ICS has, without question, been pivotal for my professional development already. The structure of the program, designed to be balanced alongside a full-time job, makes it both practical and accessible. What makes it exceptional, however, is the dedication of the lecturers, who are active professionals in the shipping industries. They generously share their time, insights, and real-world experience, bringing the material to life far beyond the textbooks, and occasionally even dispensing a few pearls of wisdom or some free life advice along the way. Some, I'll admit, more useful than others. Simon, I'm looking at you. The guidance and encouragement I have received throughout my studies have genuinely helped me and succeed and motivated me to achieve more than I thought was possible. Each class offers not only valuable knowledge, but also a connection to Greece's vibrant shipping community. The Greek branch really does a remarkable job of exposing students to the wider Greek shipping network, organizing events and forums that combine professional learning with genuine enthusiasm and camaraderie. And of course, I must mention my fellow students whose energy, collaboration, and good humor made studying not only rewarding, but also a great deal of fun. You'd be surprised at how a looming exam deadline and frantic last-minute revision can bond a group together. The friendships and connections built through this program are ones I really value, and I look forward to crossing paths with many of you in the future. Finally, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to the Greek branch team, who are just absolutely fantastic and so supportive, all of you. You know who you are. And of course, all the lecturers for their tireless effort, professionalism, and passion. Your commitment to shaping the next generation of maritime professionals truly embodies the spirit of Greek shipping excellence. And if you're currently suffering through the November exam period along with me, best of luck. I wish you every success. Thank you very much.
I told you she was impressive, didn't I? Finally, Henry Andre, please, who will have his success awarded by Anthony Komninos, Chairman of Target Marine. Henry, what can I say? Well, I can say a lot, because apart from our conversations, I spoke a lot with your wife in London. Now, his wife is not with us here, probably looking after the kids, but Henry is in Greece. He's a fully qualified English solicitor, by the way. He came for the most honourable and noble reasons. He came for love. He came, got the kids, and then decided to look into shipping. His prizes for highest marks globally, in ship sale and purchase, okay, Carlisle, okay, and shipping business, which, as the students amongst you know, is hard and one that everyone has to take to qualify. So he beat literally the whole world, every student. Is amazing enough. The other thing, however, and the icing on the cake, is that the diamond in the crown, whatever you want to call it, is the Shipwrights Award for the most successful candidate overall in all exams in one academic year. Did I mention that he's married with young kids as well? I mean, this is... I think he deserves a career in shipping just for that, don't you? Henry, a few words, please.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm I'm less prepared than my fellow award winners, but it's really thank yous I want to say. Firstly to my wife, who has supported me throughout the entire year. Lots of bedtimes with the kids that, I've been in the midst of lectures. But I also really want to thank Natalia and the whole ICS Greek branch, all the team in the office and all the lecturers, and it's been so nice. I walked in the room here this evening and immediately I saw 4 or 5 of the lecturers, and this wouldn't have been possible without you and your support, and I'm extremely grateful. Thank you so much.
So, before we go, I know we could all do with a drink. I certainly could. Natalia, if you're available, please. I'd like to ask Natalia to... I'd like Natalia to come to the podium to make a special announcement.
Congratulations to all my students. I am so proud of you. This is a special moment for our branch, as tonight we are honoring a dear friend and a long-standing supporter of the Institute, Mr. Leonidas Dimitriadis Evgenidis, President of the Eugenides Foundations. Since the very first ICS Forum, that was 20 years ago, took place here at the Eugenides Foundation, Mr. Dimitriadis Evgenidis has provided his true support to the ICS Greek branch. He is an honorary member of the Institute of Chartership Brokers, a title that reflects not only his strong ties with us, but also his lifelong commitment to maritime education and professionalism. He has shown his reflection by supporting our education initiatives, delivering inspiring guest lectures to our students, participating in the ICS Annual Forum, and promoting the values of ICS on every occasion. Beyond the Institute, his contribution to maritime education is remarkable. Through his leadership in the Eugenides Foundation, his participation at numerous educational initiatives, and his role as IMO Goodwill Maritime Ambassador, he has been a driving force inspiring the younger generation. Mr. Evgenidis truly embodies the spirit and mission of the Institute. His values, dedication, integrity, and passion for education are perfectly aligned with those of the Institute of Chartership Brokers. It is really important to recognize people like Leonidas. For this special occasion, I would like to invite our chairman, where he's here, and Mr. Evgenidis Dimitriadis to receive his award.
Wow. Dear Nikos, dear Natalia, dear Simona, that's your Greek, our newly Greek friend, dear very good friends of the panel, dear audience, dear young generation. It is with deep gratitude and genuine emotion that I accept this distinction tonight. My heartfelt thanks go to the Institute of the Chartership Brokers Greek branch for this honor, and my warmest congratulations on your 20 years of dedicated services not only to the maritime community in Greece, but particularly for the young, promising generation. The celebration connects us not only with your 2 decades of remarkable activity here in Greece, but also with the proud 115 years legacy of the Institute of Chartered Shipbrokers worldwide, a legacy built on professionalism, integrity, which is very important for shipping, and excellence in maritime education. As an honorary member of the ICS, I feel a strong sense of belonging to this great community. For more than a century, as we said before, the Institute has inspired maritime professionals to pursue knowledge with passion, to uphold ethical standards, very important, ethical, what we mentioned before, and to contribute to a more responsible and interconnected global shipping industry. At the Eugenides Foundation, we share the same conviction that education is the foundation and basis of progress. Through our maritime training programs and the national partnerships, we strive to empower young people, giving them skills and values needed to navigate in an ever-changing world. The Greek branch of the ICS has been an important part of this shared journey. Over these 20 years, you have elevated maritime professionalism in Greece, strengthened the link between academia and the industry, and supported the next generation of shipping professionals. Actually, you're a very young panel. As I was telling to George and to some other friends, we, so to say, approaching a certain mature stage of our life. Anthony, you're the exception. You are the most youthful for anybody. It is so proud because we are delivering things to the next generation, and the next generation is much better than we were. I definitely believe that. So, in an era of rapid digital, environmental, and geopolitical changes, your work and the values you represent are more vital than ever. Together, we must continue to invest in education, to inspire young talent, to ensure that shipping remains a force for good in the world. Before closing, allow me to express my sincere thanks to Nikos. It's a long trip, with passion and feelings, whose vision and moral leadership have long inspired our maritime community. What to say about Natalia, the soul, the spirit, for her tireless dedication and professionalism in advancing the mission of the ICS Greek branch, and for the well-deserved recognition she has recently received as Vice President-elect of the Institute. Congratulations once more on this significant milestone, and thank you for this great honor, which means a lot. Last and not least, I was real touched by the last part of the discussion. We're talking about balances, particularly for the young generation. Shipping is a matter of passion. Passions come and go, but you should always remain passionate for all what you are doing. Balances will follow. They'll follow easily. In shipping, sometimes you say more important doing things right, do the right thing. So it's a little bit of all together. It's a very long trip. It's a very exciting trip. And if you love it, it will love you. Be humble. Before, sometimes they were making the so-called managerial courses. Management is not something you can be taught. First of all, someone has to lead you, and then you become leaders, and whatever you do it with dedication, honestly, and passion. Have nice sailings.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eugenides, and thank you very much for those, I think, inspirational words that you've given to us this evening. And now finally, and I promise finally, Natalia, would you like to make some closing remarks to us, please?
Dear members of our panel, thank you so much. It was a fantastic discussion, and you gave us such an input. Simon, what can I say for you? You were, for one more time, a fantastic moderator. And that's what I have to say for Simon, is that he's more Greek than we are. He's a really good friend. He's always next to the Institute, next to the students, next to everyone. Simon, Thanks a lot for everything. Of course, nothing would be possible without my team at Hellenic Management Center. The only thing that I can say for all these years is a big thank. You are a fantastic team. Thank you so much for everything. I would like to express my gratitude to our loyal sponsors. For all these years, we have the same people. Without making even one call, they all want to support this forum. Thank you very much. I am looking forward to see you next year, and I'm feeling so nice that I had this journey with all of you. Thank you very much.
What are you waiting for? There's drinks outside. Thank you. Good night.